illegal immigration has placed a negative effect on the United States. My response to this is that illegal immigration benefits the United States. My opponent's secondary claims are that illegal immigration has a negative effect on school finances. Illegal immigration has a negative effect on the U.S. citizens' tax burden, and that illegal immigration has a negative effect on the U.S. economy. According to procrown.org, immigration impact on the economy is a lot smaller than the increasing ease of automotion in manufacturing or the growth of global trade. These two factors have a much bigger impact on wages, prices, and the health of the United States economy. My response to the first claim is that illegal immigration with the higher education help the economy more. According to a New York Times article, an immigrant with an education beyond high school is a benefit of $1,500. By educating immigrants, our economy can go higher, and it helps us more. They also teach us new languages and expand our mind to new cultures of the world. My response to the second claim is that illegal immigration pay taxes, therefore they're not a burden. According to undocumented immigration contribute to public covert in taxes, and everything that they spend on is they're paying taxes for. 3/4 of the illegal immigration pay their incoming taxes with individual taxpayer identification number or false security numbers. My last responsive claim is that illegal immigration benefit the United States economy. They create jobs and they make it more competitive. They increase in productivity, and they lower the cost of goods and services. Very few undocumented workers are eligible to receive benefits from the government. Therefore, not a lot of undocumented people are able to get the supportive help from the government. And that's it.
Why?
I just was out of school. It was the second time. No, it's special. Because I know you guys were judging the shit.
Yeah, because you were here. I was stuck outside. Literally at the same time she was up there. Okay, gross.
Do you hear you? I see you.
All right, Beatriz, you labeled the main and the secondary claims. That was pretty good. Gesundheit. And you've got a counterclaim that says that there is a long-term benefit that's going on here. And I think that that's okay if you can document that. Your first response on the first secondary claim, well, actually, even before you get to the secondary claims, is that labor is not as significant an issue to the economy as it once was. All right. Well, that's you're attempting to diminish the importance of the illegal immigration on wages and job availability and those sorts of things, which I think was part of the advocate's claim. It does diminish it maybe to some degree, but it certainly doesn't suggest that it's not relevant or that it is insignificant. It just puts it into a relative context. So I think you need a little bit more development of that particular argument. On the issue of education, I think that you don't really talk about the advocate's evidence and reasoning on these points. You just have a counterclaim, and the counterclaim is, look, education of immigrants is valuable because it gets us some long-term benefit. And you've got a cost estimate on what the benefit is going to be. But of course, that is based on the immigrants going beyond high school. And I didn't hear any data that talked about the number of undocumented immigrants who complete high school and then go beyond it in order to make this contribution to society that you're talking about. I'm sure that that is true for some, but what percentage of the population, for instance, and is it enough to offset whatever the costs are going to be for the impact of undocumented workers or immigrants who don't complete high school and the services that they utilize or the costs that they impose, for instance, in education. You've got an argument about that in just a second I'll get to. On the tax issue, you had some information that says that they pay, 3/4 of them pay taxes with, false data. I'm not exactly sure that this is a good thing, but they pay their taxes. Do the taxes that they pay outweigh the costs that they incur? And I don't know how that works and what the impact would be. There's got to be some research that suggests that the amount of money that's brought in is either greater or lesser than the amount of money that we spend paying for good services that are used by undocumented workers. Now, you do, on the last point, say that they're not eligible for benefits, but of course, all of the kids are allowed in the schools. That's court rulings on that say that there's a right to education regardless of their legal status. So that's a cost. And the issue of health care, which I don't remember if the advocate talked about, is one of those costs. You are correct that they are not entitled to, let's say, financial support from welfare programs, unless, of course, their children are born here, in which case there is a cost that is accrued. So, the piece of factual data that you have here is, I think, a good start of a response, but you need some more information on that point, and you need to have better information on the other points, because that's where most of the costs are incurred. You need to examine the advocate's evidence and reasoning a little bit more. You're presenting basically counterclaims, which is one way to go, but I'm not sure that it's the strongest way to respond to the argument that the advocate's presented. All right.